Last week, we saw another clash between President Trump and his top advisor on the coronavirus pandemic, Dr. Anthony Fauci. This seems like quite a common occurrence by this point, so we thought it was time to take a look back at the strange relationship between the two since the outbreak began. If you want more US content from us, then be sure to subscribe. Less than a quarter of our viewers have actually tapped the subscribe button, and with us now posting between 2 and 3 videos a week on this channel that are never shared anywhere else, we'd hate for you to miss out. So be sure to subscribe, and if you really want to treat yourself, hit the bell icon too to be notified every time we post a video. There's been some tension between Trump and his top advisor on the coronavirus, Dr. Anthony Fauci, for a while now. As a medical expert and not a politician, Fauci has been focused on the science of the situation, which often, understandably, runs counter to the objectives of Trump and other government officials. This not only leads to tension, but also some disagreement about how situations should be handled, with the government often focusing on protecting the economy, while the medical and scientific advisors are more focused on the health side of the pandemic. Because of this, Fauci expressed concerns at Trump's plans to get America going again during his testimony in a hearing of the Senate Committee on Health, Education, Labour and Pensions on Tuesday, May 12th. This followed Trump's positive mood in a press conference the day before in the White House Rose Garden, speaking about the supposedly high level of testing in the USA, something we discussed in a video earlier this week. It's linked down below. Trump has been leading the charge to reopen America's economy and has ramped up this message in recent weeks as frustration grows in lockdown. However, Fauci was less optimistic and sought to prevent the president from making a mistake loosening restrictions too early. He worries that such measures would lead to an increase in cases and, by consequence, deaths. Predictably, this didn't go down well with Trump, as he and his supporters are very keen to get the country moving again, with the president saying that Fauci's remarks were unacceptable and accusing him of wanting to play all sides of the equation.
Dr. Fauci yesterday was a little cautious on reopening the economy too soon. Do you share his concerns?
About reopening what?
Reopening the economy too soon, some states.
Look, he wants to play all sides of the equation. I think we're going to have a tremendous fourth quarter. I think we're going to have a transitional third quarter. And I think we're going to have a phenomenal next year.
When you say Dr. Fauci is playing both sides, are you suggesting that the advice
Well,
he's giving to you is different?
I was surprised by his answer, actually, because, it's just, to me, it's not an acceptable answer, especially when it comes to schools.
However, as alluded to, this isn't the first time the two have had a difference of opinion and clashed publicly over it. The issue seemed to first bloom in late February, when the New York Times reported that the Trump government had asked Fauci and other experts not to speak publicly. This followed the strangely different messages being spread, on one hand by the US leadership and on the other by disease experts such as Fauci. Although the administration have denied these claims, and of course Fauci has since featured regularly in the public sphere, alongside Trump too. But the confusion was not a good look, especially at a time when consistent messaging to the public is a necessity. Attention on the relationship between the two continued in the following months. The issue has been overblown to a degree, with the media seeking to pit Trump and Fauci as enemies. However, often the two are not in direct conflict. Each man has his priorities, but Fauci isn't trying to directly undermine Trump, and Trump is not trying to ignore all scientific advice in favour of the economy. Most of the time, it's a simple case of Trump making relatively inaccurate statements in the flow of his rhetorical style, followed by Fauci feeling compelled to correct him in the name of science and public safety. On occasion, Fauci hasn't been able to hide his frustration, and has sometimes even made Trump look less than reputable. For example, in March, he even appeared to facepalm after a statement made by Trump during a press briefing. That all being said, President Trump's actions have not helped dispel any theories about tensions between him and Fauci. He's even retweeted tweets from his supporters that have called to #FireFauci. There are worries that Trump's desire to be the centre of attention may lead him to ignore the medical advice, as Fauci becomes somewhat of a cult hero, particularly for Trump's opponents in society. Perhaps this desire could even be the reason that Trump claims that he's recently been taking hydroxychloroquine against the eminent medical advice, and Trump might have been hoping that this attention would let him take an advantage over a relatively absent Biden. This also wouldn't be the first time that Trump seemed to disregard medical advice on the national stage. The president has often taken to tweeting after Fauci's remarks at press conferences, or to going on his trademark tangents in the conferences. Whether this is because he wants to control the news cycle or he simply wants to be centre stage is hard to tell, but it's undeniable that Trump has a tendency to try and upstage Fauci. Ultimately though, this is all in stark contrast to many other countries, particularly the UK, where Boris Johnson and those who have stood in for him during daily briefings always seem to be on the same page as the scientific and medical advisors. Chris Whitty, Patrick Vallance and their understudies are often delegated to, with the politicians wanting to present only the most accurate information and not make sensationalist statements as the president has been susceptible to doing. In addition, within the US, the collaborative relationship between Ohio Governor Mike DeWine and Ohio Department of Health Director Amy Acton has received a lot of attention. Republican members of the Ohio House of Representatives have tried to limit the power of Acton, after the two kept some restrictions in place. DeWine stood by her and made clear that he would veto any legislation from his own party on the subject. However, when we look at the top of government and the relationship between Fauci and Trump, we have to hope that they can continue working together and take the right action to get us through the coronavirus pandemic. Let us know your thoughts on this. Do you think that there is genuine tension there? And if so, who do you think is in the right? Or do you think that this is just an issue that's been overblown by the media? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And as always, you can also get involved on Discord. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to be notified every time we release a video. Also, if you want to find more from us across all social networks, you can simply search for TLDR News. Special thanks to our Patreon backers who make videos like this one possible.